Amazing.
And I want to pat myself on the back for being Father of the Year. Pork Chop sent me a text. He said, "Hey, I got your plane ticket, and I got you 2 tickets to the Chiefs Jaguars. Just give me the thumbs up, and I got you." And I said, "Man, I'd really love to, but I got my 7-year-old's first sleepover. She's having 3 of her softball friends over.
Yeah.
And I have committed to taking them to the bowling alley, the trampoline park, during an NFL playoff game. I'm not even going to get to see the Chief Jaguar game."
I'm gambling again.
On this episode of Bustin' Chops and Calling Shots, we talk a little NFL news, talk about the Buccaneers game on Monday night. Is it time for Tom Brady to hang it up, or could he be on his way to the 49ers in the offseason? The Bucs fire Byron Leftwich. Harbaugh is going to stay in Michigan. We talked about that one a little bit. Will Sean Payton end up in Denver? Will he end up somewhere else, or is he going to set out this coaching session? We go through all the NFL games for the weekend, break those down for you. John gives you some tips and a text line in his betting corner.
You want to bet? I don't bet. What do you mean you don't bet? I mean, I don't bet.
You're listening to Bustin' Chops and Calling Shots.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. Of course, John feels the need to snack as we start this one off. So, how's your week?
Stress eating because I made a horrible mistake. I bet the land of misery Tigers tonight.
Hey, watch it.
Who couldn't throw it in the ocean if they were drowning at the bottom of it.
Hey, they played pretty well this year. Gotta give it to them.
No, of course they have. I haven't bet them.
Yeah, they play really well when we don't. It's like the Pittsburgh Penguins. If we don't bet them, they look like the best hockey team there's ever been. If we do bet them, they look.
I left that on the table. I liked Ottawa tonight, but I gave out the Avalanche, and the Avalanche, they're up 3-0. You said.
That's what it was last time I looked.
So yeah, looking like a split, 1-1. Been a tough week. Last night, I was fortunate to go 2-3.
Yeah, luckily the Leafs came back.
The Leafs and the basketball teaser, but those 3 straight play. I mean, here's another thing. I don't know if you know this. Well, you probably don't. But home dogs last night were 1-8 against the spread.
Hey.
That never happens. So, is what it is. But I want to say this about, we had the Brady debacle Monday night.
We're going to start off with Brady?
Well,
let's just dig right into it.
I just want to touch on, they had 2 trips inside the red zone, right? That they buffled on. He threw
one awful pick.
He threw the horrible pick. Then Godwin fumbles at like the 12. And then after all that, right? And here's the thing. This is why you can't put a team in too many teasers or parlays.
Yeah, I told you, new rule, 2 max.
Yeah. But look, here's the thing. Even after you watch that game, there's no way the Tampa Bay shouldn't cover 12.5.
No.
Or in 10 in the 7-pointer after it went to 3, we gave out the 7. So, look, I'll make that bet again 10 times out of 100. Or 10 times out of 10, rather. It didn't work out. But, I had a couple guys after that. We follow it up with, 2 and 3. Oh, rough night. I had a guy text me that. Rough night.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not one of my original guys. One of the new ones. God bless his heart. And I said, rough night. You'll be on suicide watch. Just wait till I go 1-6 on a college basketball Saturday. Right?
Let's
guys,
not do that anytime soon.
Guys, I am, you know why you want me? Because I'm honest.
Yeah.
It is unreasonable to think I can win day in and day out.
Yeah.
Across all sports combined, I'm 66%. 10% above what you need to turn a profit. 11% really. What do you want?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? Like, again, the NFL, if one break goes our way, and then after all that, we get that onside kick, I'm like, man, we're going to backdoor this thing.
Yeah, people don't ever get, recover onside kicks anymore.
Listen, we could have we finished the NFL week 8-7, and it was depressing.
Yeah.
because we very easily, because we gave out the Dallas under teaser the other way around.
Mhm.
We could have very easily been 11-3. I mean, it all swayed on the Bucks we have in those teasers, but
And then the Vikings, I didn't see them losing that at home.
You're not going to win them all. If the Bucks thing doesn't go, we lose the Vikings and we lose Geno Smith. Again, like, you just have to be reasonable. Right? Like, I'm not going to win every day. I'm not going to win every week. But I can bet your bottom dollar this. I'm going to get you 150 games over 500 if you're with me from April 1st through March 31st. So you have got to be realistic, and I don't mean this to be mean, but if you can do better, then you don't need me.
Yeah.
Pick winners on your own. If you think it's so easy and you got it so figured out, why would you even give me the pennies that you give us anyway? Why would you even do that?
Yeah.
I mean, because I can tell you one thing right now. I'm not listening to anybody with the way I pick. So why are you listening to me if you can pick better? Like, and I don't mean that to be mean, but it's like I was talking to a guy that signed up with us today, and he's been following us free plays for a while, right? And his bankroll's small, guy just got out of college. I'm like, dude, I'll work with you. I don't really care about the now. I care about the long, because here's the thing. If you're with me for 2 or 3 months, the only way you're leaving is if you die.
Well, way to make the show take a horrible turn there.
Well, no, because I'm just saying you're going to see the value.
Yeah,
yes,
I think the value is obvious.
Listen,
for sure.
Guys, I'm going to have 0-4 nights. I'm going to have 0-5 nights.
They happen.
But I'm going to have a lot more 4-1, 6-2, 3-1, 2-1, 2-0, 3-0. There's going to be way more of them throughout the course of a year. But again, like, you've got to be realistic. And again, I don't need the sarcasm. I understand when we lose because I got hundreds, sometimes thousands on it myself.
Yeah.
So trust me, I know when we lose. I can read my own tickets. I got it.
Yeah, but if people want to message us, it's no big deal. I think with that, you look at, we also had, before last weekend, we had a great run that week. We had a great run the week before. So they happen. Look, bad weekends happen. If Brady goes down there after they recover the onside kick, puts it in the end zone, like we've seen Tom Brady do so many times, we have a hell of a weekend, right? We're having a completely different conversation today, but those things happen, right? We talk about this from the very beginning, from episode 1. We do not have a crystal ball. We don't act like we do. And there's going to be bad days. There's going to be bad weekends. There's going to be bad weeks. It happens in this game. But we're guaranteed that you're going to have more good days than bad. So,
I'm
just
looking at this right
over there.
Yeah, I am. Listen, I hold on. So listen, 66.3% in the NFL, 120 wins, 61 losses. Guys, I can't do any better than that. College basketball. All right.
The suspense is killing me.
Hold, please. Yeah. College basketball, 66-32, 65% winning percentage.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. The NBA, all right, 18-8, 69%. Dear Lord. In hockey was a disaster. We started out 5-14.
It was a really bad start.
If the 5-19, because we were 14 games under 500 at one point. Everybody, I don't want hockey. Don't say we ain't want hockey. I don't want hockey.
And we kept telling people it'll turn around. Just give it time. Hockey is a long season.
That 14 games under 500, if the Avalanche hold on, will only be 4, and we will have won 8 of the last 10 hockey plays. So again, you just gotta bear with it.
And you still have February, March, and April for hockey.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of hockey left.
Like,
And then the
I'm
playoffs.
just going to be, we're down 6 in this Arkansas-Missouri game with 3:50 left. I'm just going to assume we're going to lose this, and if we win it, I'll be
It's a pleasant surprise.
I'll be pleasantly surprised. But again, last night we had Tulane catching 11.5 versus Houston.
Yep.
And they lose by 20. And I had somebody else. All right. Why would you bet against the number 1 team in the country? Houston's so good, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Tulane was 8-1 at home, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
They returned 4 of the 5 starters. They were slated to finish second in the conference. And if you had watched the game and followed the game, you would have understood that it was less than a 10-point game till the last 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
And then Tulane made 1 field goal from the 7:03 mark to the end. Now,
yep.
Granted, that's the fear of betting against Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they are the number 1 team in the country and they look like a buzzsaw. But I will say when it's all said and done, they won't get to the Final Four because I just don't think they play a tough enough conference where they're going to be tested.
Yep.
But look, guys, again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to get you to understand. There's a lot that goes into it, and the swings are incredible. I mean, as I'm watching this Missouri game now, when we turned it on, when I turned it on
10.
with Chop, well, when I first turned it on, it was a 5-point game.
Yep.
All right. Then me and you were talking before we record. It goes up to 12. Well, now they're going to the free throw line to shoot 2. Down 4.
Yep.
So, like, basketball swings on a thing. So the fact that I'm winning 66% of the games, again, I don't need to validate myself. All right. If you want the picks, if you want to win, if you want to stay with me for 10 years and have hundreds of $1,000s of free money, I'm your guy. If you want to complain about a bad night, look.
I don't think anybody was complaining.
Well, because some guys get stressed out, and my first thought goes to, and I talk to everybody about this, you have to bet it the same way. I don't know what that was, but that wasn't a layup.
I'm not watching it anymore.
You got to bet them all the same. They don't, I say this all the time, they don't pay you out any differently. They just don't.
We talk about this, though.
I mean,
people
Missouri
get nervous,
can't
but
shoot a jump shot to save their life.
So we
Don't
talked
shoot
about
that
this.
3 brick. I mean, look, Missouri has beautiful buildings. You want to know why? Because the college basketball team just keeps laying brick after brick after brick. I mean, the foundations of the buildings in Missouri are safe with all these bricks.
They're having a better year. No, what I was saying is we talked about this a handful of episodes back about, I brought it up that, some of these guys that are nervous are texting us, this could be their first season playing. They could not be used to the swings and how that works. So we have to take that into consideration too. Not all these guys that are, worried if we have a couple bad days are guys that have been doing this a long time. And maybe they don't understand how the peaks and valleys go. Like, you're going to have bad days, bad weeks. It happens. So I think it's fair. I mean, reach out to us if you have questions, if you have comments. That's what we're here for. I mean, I don't think anybody's being super negative, so I wouldn't worry about that. You just get all riled up because Brady let you down. Your heart hurts this week. What it is.
Whatever.
Well, let's dive into that. So it's on my list of things to talk about.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he might as well have thrown that free throw off the backboard. That couldn't have been a shot. That couldn't have been intentional.
You really got to stop watching games while we're trying to do this. It's a pain in my
dear
ass.
Lord in heaven.
Okay. Focus. Need you to focus.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm back in.
Okay. All right. So the game Monday night, obviously we'll talk about that. We already talked about it a little bit. We've talked about this a couple times on this show, and I brought up the last thing that I want to see is Tom Brady play too long, right? We talk about this. I thought he should have walked away after he won the last Super Bowl. What's left to prove? And that's a concern with players as they get later in their career. At what point do you admit it's time to walk away? The question I'm going to have after watching that game Monday night is it time for Tom to walk away? Because he looked awful. Uncharacteristic mistakes, things you don't normally see out of Tom Brady, especially in the playoffs. And it just makes me wonder, I think for him to get another one, he's going to have to go to the perfect situation. There's some rumors out there that the 49ers may be interested in pursuing him in the offseason. But I wonder if it's best for him at this point to just call it a day. One, what you have nothing left to prove. You're the GOAT. You're the greatest to ever lace him up at quarterback. But after watching him play on Monday night, and I know that's obviously this topic has swirled around with a lot of people all week, but I've never seen Brady look like that in the playoff. It just makes you wonder, is it time to call it a day? Is it time for him to hang it up? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him look that bad. I mean, if you're gonna say look bad, right? I would push back in the fact of what is the difference in how he looked Monday and how Josh Allen looked against the Dolphins?
Well, I think when you look at it for Brady, it's not just Monday's game. It's been all season. He hasn't looked like Tom Brady we've seen, right?
Yep.
And obviously you have a lot of things going on in his personal life. We don't comment on that. But obviously there's an effect there. I guess
there's a huge effect, right?
Yeah.
And speaking from somebody that has went through that before, right? Is, you're going with a guy. I mean, one, I can't imagine being an NFL quarterback, right? Because the rest of us, like back in the day in my schedule, at the time I was a big restaurant manager, and, I worked 60, 70 hours a week, but it wasn't like I was traveling all over the place and my kid is halfway across the country, right? And then it's just different. Being an athlete, we always talk about, oh, what problems do they have? They get paid so much money. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah,
and
money doesn't solve everything.
It is, but they're still human beings, guys. They're
Absolutely.
still human beings. And, he already has his oldest son, by another woman, right? That lives in California across the country.
Yep.
Right. So he's got kids on one coast, kids on another coast. Everything's changing. Right. He's with a team in an organization that is a dumpster fire. And when you look back at it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization has always been a dumpster fire. The only thing that saved Tampa's organization was they went from Dungy to Gruden. And then as soon as that was over, they were horrible for years.
Yeah, they were really bad.
All right. And as much as I love Bruce Arians, they had a losing record within the first couple of years. Why? Because Winston was his quarterback. And Brady comes right in and wins a Super Bowl. When I watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I find it comical and hysterical, right? That they fire Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, that was a shocker for me. I never would have thought Leftwich would have.
Yeah, the fact that Todd Bowles has a job as the head coach is beyond me. Okay? And Todd Bowles has never been, Todd Bowles is probably a top 20 all-time defensive coordinator ever in the history of the game.
He's very good.
But he is a god-awful, horrible head coach. I mean, think about it. You had a losing record with the Jets, and you get handed this playoff team that, even with all the injuries, beat the Eagles last year. And if his great defense doesn't let Cooper Kupp run down the middle of the field, they beat the Rams last year. And maybe we're talking about the Bucs back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that he keeps getting a pass, okay, the fact that he keeps getting a pass is killing that organization and will continue to kill it. And look, he hasn't did anything to garner any respect. And when, I saw Brady very calm and, you could read his lips telling guys to sit down. The Mike Evans thing, he threw it one way and Evans ran the other. And you see Evans patting himself on the chest. Brady looked bad, but a lot of that, And look, I got to take Troy Aikman's word. He's a Hall of Fame coach. A lot of that's on the Bucs receivers. And here's what else is on the Bucs.
They didn't look great either. The offense didn't look great at all.
Here's what else is on the Bucs. Pull Brady's stats, and you will see that his yardage, he's right up there with Mahomes. You cannot ask a 45-year-old quarterback to throw the ball 60 times.
Nope.
And as a defensive head coach, what's the best way to protect your defense?
Run the football, time of possession.
Run the football. How many times did they run the football Monday night?
Well, here, I'll tell you. It wasn't very much.
They didn't even run it. Go ahead.
Rashad White, 7 carries for 41 yards. So, that was working. Leonard Fournette, 5 carries, 11 yards. Brady threw it 66 times for 351.
66 times for 351 yards. And it's not like he was stretching the field. And then, guys, look, you might say that interception was horrible. How could he throw that?
That was bad.
Look, he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds. He stumbled and he didn't get it there. It was a horrible throw. But it's not like he saw something. He was trying to throw it out of bounds. He just didn't put enough oomph on it. But look, there at the end of the game, we cover the teaser if Mike Butterfinger Evans doesn't drop the football wide open.
Yeah.
So when I saw Brady chuck that ball there at the end, that's as good as throw as Mahomes or anybody can make. Agreed? 48 yards on a rope in the hands, dropped.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Brady can still play. But to your credit, like you said at the beginning, it has got to be the right situation. And the right situation is not Tampa Bay because the organization has always been a train wreck. 3 people have saved it from being a train wreck. Dungy, Gruden, and then they got lucky with Brady. Okay? So here's the thing. It's got to be the right situation. And when you say, what else do you have to prove? He doesn't have anything to prove. But once you're done, you're done. So let the man retire when he wants to retire.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's obviously his decision. I just think.
Again, but we don't get to make that decision.
No, and I'm not saying I get to make the decision, but the last thing I want to see him do is take a bad injury or have something bad happen and end a career that way.
You know what? That's his choice. He has earned the right. If he gets carried
But do you
want to
see his career end like that?
I don't want to see how it ended Monday night.
No.
Okay? I don't want to see it end how it ended Monday night. And I'm sorry, if he's on the 49ers, they win the Super Bowl. If he's on Miami, they're a legit contender. All this Vegas talk, I would retire instead of going to Vegas. I don't think Vegas is that close. The Jets, I just can't trust. Again, it's a nerd defensive head coach. I retire instead of going to the Jets.
I think, honestly, San Fran's probably his only option. And if Purdy continues to play well, how do you do that?
Look, San Francisco's a juggernaut. I would really like to see Purdy pull this off, but I got to be realistic too.
Yeah.
I just got to be realistic.
If he plays well and they still don't win the Super Bowl, like if he doesn't have an atrocious performance, they just drop a game to another good team, do you still go away from him though? Like if he continues to perform well?
If I have the chance to get Brady, Purdy's on a rookie deal, absolutely. Because then when Brady is done, because Brady's got 2 years max.
I don't want to see him play 2 more years.
Purdy, after being behind Brady, look at Garoppolo after he sat behind Brady. Right? Yeah. So, again, it has to be the right situation for him not to retire. I think going back to Tampa is absolutely not an option.
I don't think that happens at all. I think there's no chance he ends up back with the Bucs.
No. And I think he made that very clear when he said goodbye to the media without saying goodbye.
Yeah, without saying he's gone. He basically said, I'm gone.
Yeah. And then
Hamster get tripped up again there, buddy?
San Francisco. Well, I'm looking if they're going to overturn this thing that's a charge. This whole inside the bubble thing is a disaster. Anyway, with San Francisco, Miami, they had on there the Patriots. Why would you go back to there? You left because of that jazz. Why would you? Though, speaking of the Patriots, I do think if they can't get Kingsbury, if him and his hot chick hang out in Thailand.
No.
I think Byron Leftwich is a nice offensive coordinator fit for them.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think there will be some serious demand for Byron Leftwich. I think he gets another job quick.
Washington.
Washington's too stupid to do that. Let's be really honest about Washington.
But those are the only I really thought about this earlier. Those are the only two situations where I'm like, okay, those make sense. Because they are instantly. Well, first of all, if he wound up in San Francisco, they are overwhelmingly the Super Bowl favorite. With that team, they're the best team in football. The only reason they wouldn't win the Super Bowl is they run into a team that just has a day, or they run into a better quarterback, right? Which right now, every game they play from here on out, Purdy's not the better quarterback. He's not better than Dak.
No.
He's not better than Jalen Hurts. Him and Daniel Jones, Jones is a little bit better at this point. And then
Jones, give it to him. He played well.
And then if you match him up in the AFC, the only reason San Francisco would not beat Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati is because of Purdy. Because he can't outplay Mahomes, Allen, or Burrow. That's just
because he gets into a shootout.
Because the 49ers are better than all three of those teams. As a team, can we agree? Defense
is damn sure better. That's
even on offense, the Chiefs got the better play caller. Well, no, you can't even say that. Kyle Shanahan is just as good as Andy Reid. And the 49ers got better weapons.
Close.
The 49ers arguably got better weapons. You know what I mean? McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk. I'm not knocking the Chiefs.
No,
I think the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think from an offensive weapon perspective, they're probably very even. They're probably very close to even.
So with the defense,
they're the
best team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if you put those things together, the only reason San Francisco doesn't win the Super Bowl, can we agree on this? The only reason they don't win it is if Purdy can't outplay the other quarterback. And from here on out, he's going to be playing a better quarterback. And it's just going to get worse and worse. Like Dak, step up to Jalen Hurts. Huge step up to Burrow, Allen, God forbid, Mahomes. Like, I don't think Purdy can play to that level.
Yeah, if you have to get in a shootout in a Super Bowl with a Mahomes or a Burrow, and you got to go touchdown for touchdown.
I don't think he can get that done. He can't beat
that's going to be. That's a tall order for anybody, though. If you got to go play, if you got to go score for score, it's going to be a rough night. But you got to play out of your mind.
But now flip it around. Mm-hmm. With that defense and with those offensive toys and with Kyle Shanahan, Brady's the quarterback even at age 46. Now you're scared, aren't you? Listen, just answer this. If you're because let's be honest. I love Jacksonville, but their season's going to come to an end Saturday night, right? They're not beating the Chiefs. I do think it'll be closer than people think because everybody's calling it a blowout. I
said 4 to 7 points. And look, I'm a huge Chiefs fan, but I understand.
Think you're right. I think 7.
Now, what I will say is Trevor Lawrence made a mistake today that a lot of quarterbacks have made in the past, that to a fan base that does not need any incentive to be very loud and very rowdy. Don't give Arrowhead fans any reason to be louder than they are. I can't imagine they're going to be louder than the Jaguars fans. You're in for a rough night, buddy. Noise wise, it's going to be very, very loud.
Look, that kid has played in louder environments.
I'm giving him a little shit, but
yeah, He's got ice water, but they're not as good as the Chiefs, but I do think it's close. Now,
I think Andy Reid with a bye is always going to be really, really tough. He plays really well against ex-assistant coaches. I think he's 4-0 in the playoffs. Very good record against people who've worked for him before. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be very good in this league. We obviously argued about that last episode a lot, but I think he's going to be. I think going into Arrowhead, I think the Chiefs are on a mission. I think they have a lot of unfinished business, and I think they're going to take care of business.
Yeah, I think they're.
And honestly, I hope the Super Bowl is the 49ers and the Chiefs, because I feel like that would be a hell of a game.
Well, and I give the Chiefs the edge. Again, we go back to it because of Purdy. Yeah. Right. And I like Purdy. I mean, the kid's making me a believer.
Hey, he's played well. You can't take it away from him. He's played extremely well.
Scores can be very deceiving. Like,
yes, they can be.
When I was sitting there watching the Dallas Tampa game, I thought the same thing that every newscaster talked about Monday or Tuesday morning. Dallas beat the snot out and blah, 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 blah. And then, you look at it and Dallas looked very good. But that wasn't a 17-point game, truly.
No, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Like we talked about the pick, the fumble.
Yeah, and it's just like San Francisco and Seattle.
Absolutely.
That game was way close. It just, in a span of about 8 minutes, it got away. Now, credit to the 49ers. They can hit you where it hurts. But
that momentum swing, really, and we see this in all sports.
Yeah.
Once you lose momentum like that fumble killed Seattle. If they don't fumble the ball there,
I mean, even if they kick a field goal, they're down 8-5, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Yeah, it's still. So not everything is as you appear it is. And so when, again, to wrap all that up, Brady in the right situation is just as dangerous as Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, a healthy Hurts with his legs. Brady's still dangerous and but it's got to be the right situation, and it's got to be a stable franchise. Again, San Francisco, a stable franchise. Now, Miami would scare me a little bit, but they came out and they said they're in with Tua.
Yeah, Tua. So the doctors have cleared Tua. They don't see any long-lasting effects from this. They think he should be ready.
I find that hard to believe. I mean, that kid's taking a lot of hits to the head, man.
Yeah, those add up. I think for Brady, if he's going to play, which, I mean, I have questions on whether that's really the best thing.
John Cole update here on Bustin' Chops, calling shots, Missouri, 79-76. So it looks like we're going to sweep the board 2-0. And guess what? We'll go 2-0 tonight, and my phone will be crickets. Crickets.
Well, of course.
I won't get one. Well, the original Dirty Dozen, those guys will text me. I won't get one great job.
I got a couple guys that
I won't get one. Man, you guys are on it. I won't get one. Hey, way to bounce back from going 2-3. I mean, you act like 2-3 is the end of the world, for God's sakes. Again, I can't win every night, but I go 2-0 tonight, and I won't hear a word. Crickets.
You might. You don't know.
No, I know.
Don't completely write it off. So going back to this, and then we'll finish the Brady talk, because I feel like we've spent a lot of time on it. I think the only situation that makes sense for me for Tom Brady at this stage is the 49ers.
100%.
That's the only one. The Dolphins aren't going away from Tua. The Raiders, I think that's a coin flip.
I just don't understand that.
But I think the 49ers are the only one. You have to ask your question, though. Are you going to go away from Purdy? And what are you going to do with the other two quarterbacks you got on that roster, in Garoppolo and Lance, too? So they got a whole thing they got to figure out.
Lance apparently tweeted out, because that GM the Titans hired came from the Niners. He was saying, like, sent emoji crossing his fingers, hope we meet again. Like,
you're all on the Twitter thing, aren't you?
Yeah, Trey Lance apparently wants to go to Tennessee, which, I mean, I think Tannehill opts out of that deal because he sees the writing on the wall. He isn't the guy. So if Tennessee doesn't land a Rodgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance makes a lot of sense with the way they play. You know, I want Trey Lance to get a legit shot.
I do too.
I don't
heartbreaking for the kid.
Yeah,
really.
And the reality is the 49ers will never tell the truth, but they were taking Mac Jones. They were taking Mac Jones.
Yeah.
All right. And again, they did what I did Sunday, listen to the public. And they moved off of it because, how could you take Mac Jones? So this is what I want to say. And somebody, I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody made the comment, Brock Purdy is a poor man's Mac Jones. And I thought that was a good analogy, right? Because, Mac Jones is a good quarterback in a system. He's a system quarterback.
Yep.
Now, giving Matt Patricia as an offensive quarterback, absolutely not.
Well, they're going to find a new one of those. Matt
Thank God. Jeez Louise. I mean,
we talked about that being a stupid decision from day one.
Belichick doesn't have any more bright ideas. Guy takes one safety and that's a smart call, and now he thinks he's the smartest guy ever walked the earth. But when you look at that, if San Francisco takes Mac Jones like they were originally going to, that was the right position. Drafting Trey Lance, that was not the right call. He doesn't fit what San Francisco does. That's not what San Francisco does. So I want Trey Lance to get a legitimate shot because I think the kid, he hasn't even had the chance to be a rookie. He hasn't even played. So I can't tell you if the kid's good or not. All I can tell you is so far I've been right what I said. He's not ready to go hoist a Lombardi. I don't care who the heck you put around you.
Yeah.
Can we honestly say that the 49ers would be in the same position if he had started all 17 games?
No.
I'm not going that way.
No. I don't think
I'm not going that way at all. So I'd like to see Trey Lance get that shot. So if he goes to Tennessee, I think that's a good landing spot. Trey Lance to the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but I'm, again, just to put a bow on it, I think Brady can still play. I think he's taking way too much heat, and people are going to call him old. But, again, the man's been through a divorce. You're trying to split time with your kids. You're in a demanding profession. And, look, when you're outside of work, you need a little time for yourself. And he's got some hot 20-some-year-old Instagram model that he needs to give time to, too. So the guy's got a lot on his hands. A lot on his hands, a lot on his lap. You know what I'm saying?
Always got to make it creepy, don't you, buddy? I can always count on you.
Look,
no, I don't go looking at other guys' girlfriends or wives.
I plan on having them over to the family barbecue, just so you know. Cliff,
let me know how that goes.
You and Tom are welcome as well.
Yeah.
The three of us bright, distinguished football minds can sit down together and talk. Me, Tom, and Cliff. Talk about, the discussions we could have while we watch the ladies by the pool.
Don't make it creepier than it already is. Let it go. All right, let's jump into some of these other ones. Chargers are going to keep Staley. They're going to fire their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi. Staley came out and said, I never felt like my job was in jeopardy. Oof, after that game, I felt like your job was in jeopardy, so you felt better about it than I did.
So,
and I did see Sean Payton, based on insiders, are saying he wanted no part of LA. He doesn't want to deal with the ownership, doesn't want to deal with Los Angeles. So,
well, I heard different, but so,
I wouldn't want any part of LA.
I want to take this time, to speak to the San Diego Chargers franchise.
San Diego.
Yeah, because
should have never left San Diego.
Yeah, nothing has changed. You're not the LA Chargers, because the LA Chargers would mean that you have changed as a organization. So to all the San Diego Charger fans out there, congratulations. You have something that is extremely hard to find, and every franchise gets about one every 50 years, unless you're the Packers. And that is because think about it. The Bills had Kelly. It took them another 30 years to find their franchise. It really is. You get about one franchise quarterback if you're a good franchise every 25, 30 years. If you're a piss poor franchise,
some of them are still waiting on one.
Like the Washington Redskins, you haven't had a franchise quarterback since LT snapped Theismann's leg in 86. Okay?
It's been a long
It's
time.
been 37 years since Washington's had a franchise quarterback. So,
I wasn't even alive.
yeah, you weren't even alive. I was 3.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So, congratulations, you have a franchise quarterback. The bad part is you will make the playoffs 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll never sniff a Super Bowl. Ever. Ever.
Yep.
Because your franchise, your ownership is poor. And the decision to stay with Brian Staley is one of the worst decisions in the history of the United States of America. Not just the NFL.
Wow, that's bold
Keeping
statement.
Brian Staley is like saying we don't have a crisis at the border. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what keeping Brian Staley's like.
That's a good analogy.
Keeping Brian
It really is.
Staley is like saying fentanyl? Nah, we don't have a fentanyl problem. It's just killing 2-year-old kids that eat sweet tarts. Not an issue. That's what it's like keeping Brian Staley.
God, we went dark.
Yeah, we went real dark.
That
And
was
look,
real dark.
I'm neither Republican or Democrat. I think both sides are sleazy as all get out and don't have our interest at heart. But I will say this, and again, I have voted Democrat and I have voted Republican.
Thought we weren't going to talk politics on this show.
Full disclosure. But listening to the garbage that makes absolutely no sense coming out of Brian Staley's mouth, if you put a split screen of him and Joe Biden talking, it's like the same damn person. I don't understand
It's not
what
very
the
good.
hell's coming out of his mouth.
I don't think they understand what's coming
Like,
out of their mouths either. So,
When I listen to both of them speak, right, it's like, what in God's name did he just say? You don't know how to prioritize your players on who's important? Well, here, let me help you out there, Dingleberry. First of all, franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert. He's pretty darn important. You don't play him. Your three best defensive players, Derwin James, Bosa, Khalil Mack, all three have an opportunity to be a Hall of Famer. They're important. And then
Bosa
Mike Williams.
was pissed. Did you see him after
And
the
then-
game? He was
and then Mike
on
Williams
one.
and Keenan Allen, 2 guys that have been injury riddled all year. They're important. So let me help you out, dummy. If you need to sit anybody, start with those 6, because my dumbass can figure that out.
Yeah. Maybe we should be coaches.
I
in the
care
NFL.
about all my players. I don't know how to prioritize them. Then you don't need to be leading them.
It's a true statement. Can't argue with that.
All right. So you're telling me you don't know who's more important, the punter or Mike Williams? That's what you're telling me.
Hey, look, the
No, no,
punters
that-
have a
that's what
very
you're telling me.
important job.
That's what you're telling me. And then,
Kind of.
and then just to watch the game management.
It was bad.
Again, you got to be, I mean,
I'm shocked.
He's
He's
just
not
an
out of the
idiot.
job.
he's
Yeah,
an
I'm
idiot.
shocked.
And then you fire a Lombardi?
Well, sure.
I mean, what is wrong? So the offense blew the 27-point lead, Staley. That's what you're telling us, Coach?
Had nothing to do with the defense
Had nothing to do with you.
or the
And-
clock management or the.
Yeah. Maybe if you didn't like the way the OC was calling the game, you walk down and tell him stop throwing the football. But you know what? You didn't tell him to stop throwing the football. You want to know why? Because your dumbass came out at halftime in the interview and said, we got to keep being aggressive. We got to keep slinging it. We got to keep scoring. We got to put the pressure on. Dude, you obviously can't do simple math. Simple math would tell you if you run 3 times and punt, you're going to take off of the clock somewhere in the neighborhood, Dingleberry, of 2.5 minutes. Okay? Just work with me here.
Mm-hmm.
The chances of you running the ball 3 times and going 3 and out every time are slim to none. So let's say you're probably going to get 2 first downs, right?
God, I would
Basic
hope.
math tells you that takes up the possessions they had would have taken up all but 6 minutes of game time. So you're telling me Jacksonville's going to score the 30-some points they did in 6 minutes? So obviously you're a moron. You have been awarded no points, and God have mercy on your soul, because you are the dumbest MFer.
Yeah.
I mean, you and Ron Rivera, I hope y'all end up at the same old folks home shitting all over yourselves.
Wow. God, we just keep going dark on this show. It gets worse and worse. All right. All right,
So,
we'll jump to
Charger fans, I'm sorry. The only difference between you all and the Washington Commanders, and the only difference between you all and the Arizona Cardinals is you have a great quarterback, but you're going to waste him. You're going to waste him. You won't sniff a Super Bowl, and you should have already been in a AFC championship game. I digress.
All right. Well, the next one we talked about
Applause, please.
We talked about this one a little bit, whether or not he would make the move out of college. Harbaugh is going to stay at Michigan.
That's right. He's a Michigan man.
And honestly, I think that is, and we talked about this a little bit, with that roster, everything they have coming back, good quarterback, they have an opportunity to be right back in the college football playoff next year.
Yeah.
So for me, and I talked about is coming out of college really the right decision for him? And I had questions on whether I thought that. I think him staying at Michigan is the best fit by far.
Well, and
also, who wants to deal with the NFL?
Yeah.
During college?
I mean, even, Deion said the best thing. I can't deal with guys that make millions of dollars and think they're better than they are.
Yeah.
But with Harbaugh, I was listening to Sean Payton was on The Herd the other day, and I love listening to Sean Payton when they have him on there, because Sean Payton really is, and not to steal a line from Cal Herd, but he said it best.
That's your guy.
Yeah, that is my guy. He said it best. When you listen to Sean Payton, you get to hear Bill Parcells speak, basically.
Yeah.
And Bill Parcells doesn't get enough credit for being one of the 5 greatest coaches of all time, but one of the 5 guys that changed the league forever for the better, right?
Yeah.
And Payton was talking about, these guys, all of them that have openings, and he was trying to be very strategic about how he said it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he said best, all of them are broken to some degree. And he said, when you're evaluating where to take a job, he goes, the thing that's more important than anything is ownership.
Yep.
And he said, unfortunately, there's only a handful of owners that run their franchises right in the NFL. So Harbaugh being smart and saying, okay, I was with the 49ers, and the only reason I left was because I couldn't get along with the general manager and the president at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the 49ers. What about Carolina and that new owner do I have confidence in? What about the owner of the Texans and what they're doing do I have confidence in?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The Arizona Cardinals, that franchise has sucked except for lightning in a bottle, which was Bruce Arians with Kurt Warner and Carson Palmer. That little stretch they had where they got them back to back at the end of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Arizona's always been god awful.
Not very good.
Not very good. Denver, okay? That ownership group, you have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, you don't. They're a new group.
They're a new group. Look, I get you and AJ the other night. I understand what you're saying. The mystique of the Broncos.
It still has a little bit of
in
that.
the city. Nobody wants that job. I am not at all going to be surprised if Sean Payton does the same thing Harbaugh did. Thanks, but no thanks this year. And I think that's why you saw the Lions offensive coordinator, and Dan Campbell probably told him, look, I was in a horrible situation where I didn't get support and it didn't work out.
Yep.
Detroit, they didn't overreact. They let me, because Dan Campbell, I think, is a stand-up guy. He probably told the OC, look, I'll help you get a job. I know you're not going to be with me forever, but let's get you the right job.
Yep. Not just a job.
Not just Because here's the thing, being an NFL head coach, like, why would you take the Texans job? Yeah, if you turn it around, you're going to be,
I mean, the only intrigue about that job is you're going to get a top 2 pick. Yeah, you can draft a quarterback and try to build.
But the rest of the roster's trash. The ownership is pathetic.
You're not wrong.
And when you look at Carolina, I'm just being honest. I would look at Carolina and I would say, wait a second. Steve Wilkes doesn't get to keep the job?
How is he not their head coach? I don't understand the logic with Carolina.
Steve Wilkes doesn't get to keep the job. But when you look at what Steve Wilkes did after they traded McCaffrey, after they traded Robbie Anderson, if what Wilkes did wasn't good enough, what are you expecting?
Yeah, with what he had to work with, like, hats off to Wilkes. I mean,
Steve Wilkes
almost got him in the playoffs.
Steve Wilkes is just, I mean,
how pissed does he have to be right now?
Well, and this brings up a whole nother bucket of worms, right? And it's just a crosshair of, it's just a whole nother bucket of worms. But Steve Wilkes deserves to have the job. But if I'm getting interviewed for Carolina, I'm saying to myself, what are your expectations? Because
if this guy didn't meet him, then what do you want me to do to meet him?
What are you expecting out of me if that guy didn't meet him? So, again, I just think it takes reality, and I don't think any of these jobs are good. I don't think any of them are good. And again, the only one that I guess is intriguing is Denver, the mystique and all that. But Russell Wilson, there's issues with his teammates.
Mm-hmm.
There's issues about his schedule. There's issues about his commitment. There's issues about has he fell off. And guess what? They don't have a draft pick from now until my daughter graduates high school, and she's in 2nd grade right now.
Yeah, they gave up way too much.
So I just look
I
at
have
him.
a crazy question for Denver, since we're on Denver. Would it have been better off for the Broncos franchise if they don't trade for Russell Wilson and they just keep Drew Lock and then maybe draft a quarterback?
Well, I don't think Drew Lock is a starting quarterback in this league. However,
but what you gave up, I'm looking at for your franchise, what you gave up for Russell Wilson, you could have kept Drew Lock. And maybe you draft a quarterback in the next year or two. Like, maybe he's not your franchise guy, but maybe he gets you to your franchise guy. Yeah. Now you've given up so much for Russell Wilson, and he's playing like shit. You're in big trouble.
Well, and that's a gamble you make, and then they turn right around and they're forced to give him the big deal because they did make the trade to give away so much. And
right.
And we're seeing that play out with Baltimore now and Lamar Jackson. I'm one that has said Lamar Jackson's never going to hoist a Lombardi. However, on the other hand, again, it's okay to leave the one you're with, but what are you going to?
Right.
Because Lamar Jackson was told to play in the NFL, he'd have to be a receiver or a running back.
Yep.
He has a piss poor offense. They've
really bad.
Put no weapons around him.
No, all they've done is taken weapons away from him.
And not even Andrews. Andrews was like a 5th round pick that just happened to work out, right? He accounts, they averaged 26 points a game with him. Without him, they averaged 12. Okay? And he was an MVP his 2nd year. Yeah. And guess what? You're in the ball game every time he's there. Whether he can win the big one or not, or whether he can win playoff games, I agree with all those statements.
Right.
But who are you going to replace him with?
That's a good question.
Because I even sat here and say he's not hoisting a Lombardi, and then I had to self-evaluate and say, okay, I feel like I'm beating on Lamar, but when I go looking at it, sorry, folks, Lamar's a top 10 quarterback in this league, whether you want to admit it or not.
Absolutely a top 10. I would 100% put him in as a top 10 quarterback when he's healthy.
If you don't want to pay him, fine. But
I don't think it's necessarily that they didn't want to pay him. I mean, the contract that they offered him before the season started was a good contract. It's not like they really lowballed him.
Yeah, well, it is lowballed, and here's why: because it's less than Kyler, it's less than Russell, and it's less than The Cleveland Browns are the leave it to
they
the
ruined
old
this for a whole
Cleveland
bunch
Browns.
of people.
They
Yeah,
ruined
screwing it up for the rest of us.
They really did. So now you're just stuck, right? The Ravens are stuck. Somebody's going to give Lamar the money. And if you're, people say, well, he's injury prone. Well, you want to know why Lamar's injury prone? He really hasn't. He played every snap except these last 2 years. And here's the thing. If you don't want him to be at risk, don't make him be your quarterback and your running back.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when you look at it, they ask him to do everything.
We see that as a trend with franchises, though, doing this with young quarterbacks, is they do put everything on them.
Yeah, like the Bills do it, but at least the Bills got weapons for Allen.
That's
Lamar's
true.
out there.
Lamar doesn't have any weapons.
Lamar's got you as his number one wide receiver. And I love you, but I mean, you're not blowing past anybody, Choppy.
Hey, I'm dangerously quick over short distances.
Dear God.
And by short distances, I'm talking like 2-3 yards maximum.
You've never seen me move down the cookie aisle at your local Walmart. I am elusive.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Again, if you're the Ravens, you got to give the man his money. Listen, in 5 years.
But have they ruined that relationship to the point where Lamar wants to go somewhere else?
Probably, because look, Lamar played without a contract. And look what he did before he went out.
Mm-hmm.
They were 1 game back of the 1 seed. I mean, and if Lamar is playing, they beat the Bengals this last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I said that, I think, on the last episode.
And if Lamar's playing, if they beat the Bengals, you know what? I'm probably taking them against Buffalo because that defense ain't chasing him around.
Yeah.
So now Lamar is probably in an AFC championship game, which he would lose to the Chiefs because he can't get past Mahomes. But, I mean, what more does the guy got to do? Again, if you don't want him to be at risk and you're scared of giving him the money and him getting hurt, great. Get him an offensive line that's better and go get him some weapons to throw to.
Yeah.
Because you know what? He put the work in to be a pocket passer because he can throw a much better ball. Like, as much as I rag on Lamar, I'd take him in a heartbeat. I mean, he can come on down I-95 there, the Beltway down to Washington.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
No, because they
Washington's
believe they need
too stupid, man.
Yeah, they're a bunch of idiots too. Yeah, put them on the same bus with Staley.
I think the only hope for Washington is that the new ownership group that comes in is smarter.
They
than
have
the
to fire
ownership
everybody.
group.
Like I said, I wasn't even joking. You have to fire the person that cuts the grass. You have to fire all the janitors. You have to fire the popcorn girl. Oh yeah, you don't want any semblance. Even if they were a good person and a great employee, I'm sorry. You don't want anybody that was a part of that cancer. All the cheerleaders need to go. You know what I mean? The people that
cleaning house,
the people that stripe the freaking parking lot lines, I want them gone.
I think you're getting a little too in the weeds with this. I don't think the trash people need to go.
If you serve Coke, you no longer serve Coke. You got to go with Pepsi. If you serve Budweiser, you no longer serve any Budweiser in the stadium. You got to serve Miller Lite and Coors Light. Like, that's how much you need. You need no semblance.
To burn some sage.
Yeah. Burgundy and gold. You need to switch it to neon blue and neon orange as your colors. You need to get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, I hope not. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. Cardinals interviewing Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn for their head coaching job, and also Frank Reich.
The right guy for the Arizona Cardinals job is Brian Flores.
Yeah, that'd be a good move. Here's the problem with the Cardinals job is I don't think anybody wants to put up with Kyler Murray.
And that's why I said the only man for the job is Brian Flores.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
I would have said Steve Wilkes, but Arizona already screwed him once, so.
Yeah. Poor Wilkes, man. We should have him on the show to talk about how he feels about this whole situation.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So I feel like you're trapping me. I don't want to go down that road.
What do you mean? What'd I do?
No, because it
do you have a Call of Duty joke?
No. I got a
I don't need messages from HR again this week. Let's keep it
I
clean.
need to leave it alone.
Yeah.
But
we'll move to the next one then.
But Brian Flores is the only right guy for the job. And there's right guys. You know when there's a right guy for the job. Like Sean Payton is the right guy for the Charger job. Right? Brian Flores.
He could do. You looked at that, though, with Sean Payton. The Broncos, if he can go in there and fix Russell Wilson, it's not a bad spot.
No.
That defense, it got a lot of offensive weapons.
No.
He can handle the cold. If that's your biggest issue, there's a jacket, there's a heater, he'll be fine.
I don't think
get him some hand warmers.
I don't think he wants that job. I think he would take the Houston job before he took the Denver job.
Well, you're going to take the Houston job just like I talked about because you have a top 2 pick. You can pick your quarterback and you can build around him.
And he has a house in Texas.
And from Houston's perspective, it is a complete remodel.
Hey, look,
you can do whatever you want. Whatever flooring you like, whatever countertops you're going for, you can have whatever you want in Houston.
That Cowboy win Monday night, there's 2 people that lost, Brady and Sean Payton, because he thought he was moving back to Dallas.
Yeah.
So, but Brian Flores is the right guy because Brian Flores is a lot like Mike Tomlin, which he's on Mike Tomlin's staff now.
Yeah.
And a Mike Tomlin type is who you need to deal with Kyler Murray's little ass. Right?
Can you imagine Mike Tomlin coaching Kyler Murray? He would make him cry on day one.
You know what? I bet you Kyler Murray'd be in the race for the MVP and you wouldn't hear a peep out of him.
Maybe.
And Brian Flores would do the same thing. Right? You know, that, yeah.
Yeah, don't. All right, Nathaniel Hackett in the running for the Jets offensive coordinator job. Sorry, there's a lot of NFL news right now, obviously. Offensive coordinator jobs, coaching jobs. So a lot to get through.
Oh, so Nathaniel Hackett is going to take the job people should have offered when he was just the babysitter of Rodgers. Is now let's try you as an offensive coordinator before we actually try you as a head coach. Makes sense now.
Yeah, there's a progression there, and they skip.
It's kind of like McDaniel of Miami. You know what I mean? Should have had him be an offensive coordinator
Would
first.
You get dude, when the guy has coached well.
Really? Because I saw him have huge blunder that might have cost Miami the game with clock management. Just saying.
Well, I've seen Andy Reid screw up some clock management too, and he's a Hall of Fame coach, so it happens.
Right.
You just hate that guy. I don't know what your hatred for him is. If he had flowing blonde locks, I think you'd be a big fan. All right, we'll jump to the next one here. Titans new GM, Rand Carthen. He was the 49ers director of pro personnel. He's their new general manager. The Titans trying to make some moves here. Yeah, maybe.
Lance.
Could be an interesting move for them.
Yeah, Trey Lance. I mean, Tennessee's got to hurry. Look, Tennessee either has to make a decision to go all in, or they need to trade Derrick Henry while he's still got some value.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to trade some of those defensive pieces and get more picks and just start all over.
Yeah. The interesting one here, too, the Colts looking at, obviously, they interviewed Eric Bieniemy. Also, Dan Quinn is on their radar right now as a potential option to go up to Indy. I don't think Eric Bieniemy is going to get a job again this cycle. And how many is this now the dude's tried to get a head coaching job? Is he going to have to go somewhere else and be an offensive coordinator, improve himself, and then get a head coaching job? Because it doesn't seem like being the offensive coordinator in Kansas City is going to get him there.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy. I mean, I don't know why the Colts wouldn't hire him, man. I mean, but I don't want the Colts to hire him because I feel like it's just setting him up for failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the organization's not in a good way, and we talk about their owner all the time is out of his mind.
Yeah, and so, I mean,
I'm starting to feel bad, though, for Bieniemy. Like, is the guy ever going to get a shot?
Well,
man, you're really having to ponder this one.
Well, and here's why. It's because, you know, you have the Rooney Rule, right? And it's been all over TV how, you know, it hasn't fixed the situation about hiring African American coaches.
Right.
And I think that we're publicizing that into something it's not. But it gets publicized into that when you have things like Brian Flores, who should have never been fired.
No, he should not have.
Steve Wilkes, who should have never been fired in either job, right?
Huh?
Or why doesn't Eric Bieniemy get a job? He deserves a daggone job. So what ends up happening though is there's that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So now you end up holding on to head coaches that shouldn't be head coaches, like a Todd Bowles. And what it really does is, because we want to see more African American coaches, somebody like a Todd Bowles, because he's been around, will keep his job, but yet we don't give Eric Bieniemy the shot he deserves, right? Like, he's
Agreed.
been through so many interviews. What else does he have to prove? He's had the top 3 offense every year. I mean, what?
Yeah, and
what
I think
could you possibly have to ask Eric Bieniemy in an interview?
I think one of the knocks on him is he's not a great interviewer, but his body of work
gives
should
a
speak
shit?
for itself. Yeah, like some people
Right.
just don't interview well.
Guess what?
It happens.
Guess what? If a network comes to talk to us, they're probably not going to like me. You want to know why? Because John's always going to be John. Yeah, I like to wear my polos and my jeans or khakis every once in a while, but I'm a T-shirt, my little Under Armour sweatpants, and a hat on backwards.
Yeah,
And I can rock it at 39 just as good as I did when I was 18.
See, I'm a really good interviewer. Maybe I could save us.
So, what else do you have to see from Eric Bieniemy? And then from Steve Wilkes and Brian Flores, the coaching jobs they did, they didn't get to keep their job.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just like, because here's my thing. When you talk about the Rooney Rule, I get it. You want more opportunities for African-American head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, as an owner, I want who I want. So if I give somebody an interview, I'm interviewing them just to meet the criteria.
Yeah.
And they have no shot of getting the job. So I'm wasting both of our time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the NFL turns around and screws this up, because when we do get African-American head coaches that should be head coaches, a la Steve Wilkes, a la Brian Flores, a la Eric Bieniemy, we screw it up. And then you'll keep somebody like a Todd Bowles who has a losing record, and then that'll get plastered everywhere. And so guess what? Now the African-American coach is going to lose out on being the head coach, because the owner's going to say, well, yeah, there's Mike Tomlin, but I got Todd Bowles over here that he ain't won a game since Christ was on the cross. So you know what I'm saying? It's just
you're on one tonight.
It's just
Good Lord.
screwing up the whole system.
Yeah.
Because if I'm an NFL owner, and again, not everybody fits with everything. Sean Payton is a better coach than Brian Flores.
Right.
Brian Flores is a much better option for the Arizona Cardinals than Sean Payton.
Right. Different guys for different situations.
Yeah. Again, we just talked about Carolina. What else do you got to see with Steve Wilkes? I mean,
we talked about for the Colts. If you get Eric Bieniemy, trade for Lamar. Can you imagine Bieniemy and Lamar?
Oh my gosh, the Colts are
they would
dynamite.
be filthy. Yeah.
So if you're the Colts, but look, here's the problem with the Colts. The Colts should have never got rid of Frank Wright.
Also true.
You kept making him try to win with old, washed up quarterbacks. So, and here's my thing: as an owner, you got to let the general manager manage. You got to let the coach coach. You can't be the voice in the room. And I heard Sean Payton say that the other day.
Yep.
You're an owner. Congratulations. You had a lot of money and you could afford a franchise because you ran great businesses. It ain't running an NFL franchise.
It's one of the biggest reasons the Cowboys haven't won anything since the 90s.
Yeah, and guess what?
Because Jerry Jones can't keep his hands out of it.
But kudos to Jerry Jones. He's put this team together and he's left McCarthy alone.
Yep. And they're performing better. Look what happens when you keep your hands out of shit.
Yeah, so, and I think kudos to his son, who you see with him all the time now. I think he's really been the voice of reason, right?
Hopefully.
But yeah, sorry to get off on that tangent, but That's what's really wrong is we don't keep the coaches we should, and then the ones that we do give the job to, we just let them like flounder.
Yeah.
And keep floundering when it was never a good fit. Like, again, I don't understand the Buccaneers firing Byron Leftwich and keeping Todd Bowles.
I don't either.
That makes no sense.
When I saw that news come across, I was like,
and listen,
come on.
And I don't understand how Byron Leftwich didn't get the head. Like, rewind this. A year ago, we were talking about Byron Leftwich getting interviews to be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year he's getting fired? When the reality is Tampa Bay promoted the wrong coach.
Yep.
They should have gave Byron Leftwich the head coach, and not Todd Bowles.
We talked about that a lot at the time was you make Leftwich your head coach, you keep Todd Bowles as the defensive coordinator, which is what he's good at.
Yeah.
Like you had it and you screwed it up.
Well, it's
royally.
It's the Norv Turner theory all over again.
Yep.
Norv Turner, a great offensive coordinator everywhere he's been.
One of the best.
Built the Cowboys offense with Jimmy Johnson. What one of Kirk Cousins' best years, Norv Turner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, Cam Newton's MVP year. Guess who it was? Norv Turner, after he got fired, became the offensive coordinator. Cam Newton's MVP year.
Mm-hmm.
His 1 year with Cam's an MVP. So, but he was just not a good head coach.
And not everybody's cut out for it.
Not everybody's cut out for that. Like Vic Fangio had a shot with Denver. I knew it wouldn't work, but guess what? I'm like Sean Payton. If I'm hiring a guy right now for defensive coordinator, the first two guys I'm going after, Vic Fangio and Brian Flores. Duh. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
True.
So, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, and for Denver, I think Brian Flores is the right fit for Arizona. I think Frank Reich is the right fit for Denver now that Harbaugh's not coming, because I did like Harbaugh to Denver. I think Frank Reich's the better one. And Carolina, you need to bring Steve Wilkes back. And in Houston, sell the franchise to a little Chinese guy in Japan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Call him the Houston Shiskabas.
Yeah, and then we can go Eric Bieniemy to the Colts.
Yeah, there you go.
God, see, they should just hire us to solve this stuff.
There you go.
Not only so difficult.
Not only did we get the best fit for each team,
mm-hmm.
right? We didn't ruin Sean Payton. He's still out there for next year. We got 3 guys that should be a head coach who all happen to be African American. So we got that right. And the world, listen, somebody get Goodell on the phone. I need to talk with him. Me and him need to break bread.
Maybe what we should do is send him the episode of this show and see if he can,
Yeah. Here, let me help you out, Roger. Roger Dodger. It's only going to cost you Super Bowl tickets for life. And,
hey, I'd take that. I'd take that deal.
Yeah, I'll help you out. You know what I mean?
All right. The last NFL news piece, obviously Rodgers had a little interview, said he feels like he could still be an MVP in this league. And then Gronk kind of came out and said, why are you worrying about MVPs, man? You should only be worrying about Super Bowls. Now, given the context, I think McAfee was the one doing the interviewing, and he did kind of ask, Aaron, how do you feel? How's the body? And Aaron gave the response of, I can still be an MVP. So that's part of it. But it also does kind of make you wonder about the mindset with Rodgers throughout his career, where has the focus always been on hoisting the Lombardi, or has it been more on getting that MVP?
Well, a couple things before I start here. I just want to throw some, some things out there. One,
be careful.
I love Pat McAfee and what he does.
Oh, he's fantastic. One of my favorites.
Has a great podcast. Now, I will say, him and his guys, y'all do all those picks. Y'all should really have us on, because y'all can't pick a winner with tomorrow's newspaper. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I love the show. Secondly, Aaron Rodgers is a selfish, self-centered,
I knew this was going to take a turn.
prick.
Ooh. Okay.
In the discussion. That's why he's had a horrible relationship with his family. That's why he can make no relationship work with a woman. That's why he's not married. That's why he doesn't have kids, because he's a selfish, self-righteous, I am God asshole. And he is five
Tell
times
us how you
worse
really feel.
than Brett Favre ever was. Okay?
Yeah.
He has no desire to do anything but be the center of attention and let people flock to him. First of all, to say you could be the MVP, you wouldn't have even have been the MVP if you didn't have Davante Adams. Let's get that out of the way first. Secondly, Davante Adams, the Packers offered the same amount of money. The reason he's not there is because of yo ass. So look yourself in the mirror.
True
Secondly, you haven't thrown for 300 yards since you hoisted the Lombardi, it feels like. It's been like 19 games. So where you think you're at an MVP level, and just going back to that, you've choked in the playoffs, and I mean choked, gagged, when your team needs you the most.
Yep.
And then you have the audacity. You got Dobbs and Watson and those young kids in fear working their butts off, and you can't even take your lazy, self-righteous ass out there to practice and help them. Allen Iverson, practice. You know about practice. And you just expect them to be Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin. Screw you. Retire, because I'm tired of your dumbness. The organization knew if they want me and, I want them. And then, I guess I could see playing somewhere else. Dude, what do they got to commit to you? They gave you 3 years, $150 million. What more of a commitment do you want? They said, Aaron, we're going to pay you $150 million, and all we need is for you to come to practice and help these young receivers.
I don't know, man. We see this with him a lot. I do think he likes the attention. I do think that, I don't know. I don't think he leaves Green Bay. I think if he did, talked about
leaving Green Bay.
But if he did, I think Tennessee would be a good fit.
You know why? Because nobody else is going to put up with it.
Yeah. And when you look at Rodgers, I think he's a very talented quarterback, right? He's got a great arm. He can sling it. But his attitude, I think, has kept him from achieving what he could have achieved in this league. And we talk a little bit about, we talked a little bit about the NBA, and we talked about Kevin Durant, and his decision making prevented him from reaching the level he could have reached in his career, right? And I think Rodgers, the decisions he's made, the attitude that he's had, is what has held him back from really getting the most out of his playing career. He won a Super Bowl. That's great. But he could have won more. I mean, I think he was talented enough to win more,
Absolutely.
But I think Aaron got in his own way.
Aaron Rodgers, top 10, top 15 quarterback all time, his attitude has got in his way.
Yep.
And as much as we've knocked McCarthy, guess what? He ain't accomplished anything since McCarthy left.
True.
I mean,
Can't argue with that.
How many times have you had the 1 seed, dude? And MVP level, you can't even throw for 300 yards. Tom Brady getting beat like a rag doll threw for 350 some yards against Dallas the other night. You can't even get to 300.
Yeah.
And then every time somebody drops a ball, there's no motivation. There's no, hey, we'll get him next time. There's just,
we watched him the first game of the season.
I mean, he's an
Minneapolis,
asshole. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah,
and you can be an
him.
asshole if you're Michael Jordan, where you're a winner. Rodgers doesn't have that. He doesn't get that pass because he hasn't won anything except division titles in a horrible division. In a horrible, arguably the worst division in football the last 25 years.
Yeah. I think that when you make that Jordan comparison, he was an asshole, but he made everybody else around him better. Aaron doesn't do that. He doesn't take the time to help anyone get better, and I think that's a problem. I mean, I think he comes back. I think he plays a couple more years, whether it's in Green Bay, whether he goes somewhere else. I think he stays in Green Bay. if he's going to leave, I think the Titans is an intriguing option based on what I think he could do there. But yeah, I just think he gets in his own way.
You know why he won't leave? He won't leave because he's scared.
Yeah.
Because
maybe.
he knows if he goes to another franchise, he'll get exposed.
Yeah.
He'll get exposed.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Well, with that long rambling session we just had, let's move into a little, no, stop. A little breakdown of NFL games for the weekend. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. First Saturday game, Jaguars at Chiefs. The line that I can see right now, Chiefs laying 8.5. I'll actually be at this game at Arrowhead on Saturday, so excited to watch the Chiefs. Playoff football at Arrowhead is always a fantastic experience. If you've never had the chance to go to a game at Arrowhead or go to a playoff game, on your list of stadiums you have to visit, you need to mark that one down. It is a fantastic game day experience. And if you ever have a chance to go to a playoff game, it's electric. It is amazing.
And I want to pat myself on the back for being Father of the Year. Pork Chop sent me a text. He said, "Hey, I got your plane ticket and I got you 2 tickets to the Chiefs Jaguars. Just give me the thumbs up and I got you." And I said, man, I'd really love to, but I got my 7-year-old's first sleepover. She's having 3 of her softball friends over.
Yeah.
And I have committed to taking them to the bowling alley, the trampoline park, during an NFL playoff game. I'm not even going to get to see the Chief Jaguar game.
Are you serious?
I won't be.
You're not even going to watch?
Yeah, I won't. I'm not. I was already committed. I didn't think that. I really thought they would make the Giants Eagles the early game.
Yeah, I did too.
Right?
I thought Chiefs.
So
were gonna be a late game.
I was banking on that when I made all these agreements 2 weeks ago. I didn't think they would pick the Chiefs the early game.
So
right?
you're going to be that dad at the
And then-
trampoline park with the game on your phone, like the AT&T
So
commercials.
So listen, bowling, trampoline park, Sweet Frog, frozen ice cream, then bringing them back to the house, and they want me to order pizza, and they eat it in their room and do their nails and stuff. So I've more committed to that than the NFL. So
I'm proud of you.
to all of our winners out there, never fear. I'm done all the work. I'll just take tomorrow, Thursday, to think about it and make sure I'm good. But all the work's done. My picks are done. I'm ready to go. We're going to have 6 plays. At worst, we're going to go 4-2, or I'll send everybody a free candy bar of their favorite candy. And, but yeah, I am passing up. Thank you for the gesture. Thank you for thinking of me, because you never do. So thank you for that. That was very,
you know, I
that
think
was
about
very
you all
sweet
the
of
time.
you, brother of mine.
I swear.
But just to show people that I am super dad, and also to show people that I have a very high respect for women, because the little women in my life are more important than football.
Well, you'll be at the trampoline
Applause,
park
please.
and the bowling alley, and I'm proud of you. And I'll be about 12 Guinness deep at Arrowhead. So
I can't drink Guinness like that.
Oh,
How
see,
you
I
drink
can't
12?
because
Oh
it
my
goes down
God.
like water, man. It's lovely.
No, sir.
And
Ugh.
Guinness is the one beer I can drink as many as I want, and I can wake up the next day with no hangover. It's perfect.
You know when I'll start drinking Guinness?
What?
When they sponsor us and let us be in a commercial with Joe Montana.
That's my dream.
I love Joe.
I love
Joe,
Guinness.
come on the show. You were my favorite as a kid.
Yeah.
You and Joe
And bring
Theismann.
Guinness.
Look, when I was a little kid, I had 4 heroes. Well, 5 heroes. Sorry. Bird and Jordan in basketball. And then in football, I loved Montana, Theismann, and Elway. Those were my guys. So if any of y'all want to fulfill a childhood dream, please come on the show.
Yeah. Remember the Michael Jordan basketball hoop we had on the door?
Yeah. Yeah,
We had
I
some
bought
great
it.
games.
I found one off eBay. It's right
Are you
here.
serious? I gotta
Yeah.
find me one. Yeah, those
Yeah.
were good times, man.
It's like $40. It's just up there, and I got the ball here on the desk somewhere. I don't know.
Ah, the
Lydia
memories.
Lydia comes in and plays with stuff all the time. She'll be like shooting in front of my 2 TVs, and I'm like, Look, Dad loves you, but
I'm not
hey,
trying to
there's
watch anything.
Thousands on this. Move over. Yeah, there's your college funds on TV. Move over. So
Good Lord. All right, let's break this game down. Jaguars, Chiefs. Like I said, line 8.5. I don't think that's a bad line. I think this game ends up being a lot closer than a lot of people think. I don't think it's a blowout. I do think the Chiefs win the game. Like I said, I think they're on a mission. They're at home. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be cold here. There's a chance of snow on Saturday as well. So weather's not going to do the Jaguars any favors. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch this one, especially in person, because I do think it's going to be a good game. I do think the Chiefs win. Like I said on the last episode, I think it's a 4 to 7 point game. Could I see the Chiefs, kicking a field goal or something to make it 10 late? Yeah, I could see that, but I really do think this is a close game that comes down to the fourth quarter. I don't see the Chiefs running away with it. The Jaguars have played well. These teams played each other not too long ago. They played a very close game, so I expect Jacksonville to play close.
yeah, right now, according to DraftKings and FanDuel and MGM, 57% of the ticket count is on the Chiefs, 43% Jaguars. 66% of the money is on the Chiefs, 34% on the Jaguars. Line setting at 8.5. Over under is 53. Of course, all these overs are getting pounded after last week. All the overs coming in pretty much cashing. So underdogs were 4-2 last week against the spread. Now the Jaguars 4-0-1 ATS. Their last 5 versus a team with a winning record. 6-1-1 against the spread. Their last 8 versus the AFC, and 5-1 ATS. Their last 6 games overall. Kansas City, not very good in the cover department. Kansas City wins a lot. They don't cover a lot. 0-4 ATS, their last 4 games following against the spread win. 0-4 ATS versus a team with a winning record. 1-7-1 their last 9 home games. 1-7-1
Against the spread,
9.
right?
Against the spread.
Yeah.
In arguably the biggest home field advantage in the NFL, you're 1-7-1 against the spread. That's shocking to me.
The lines they give the Chiefs though are huge,
Yeah.
and have been all season.
But look, the way they are, they should be blowing people out. Now, this game really is going to, I feel like a broken record saying this is, can the Chiefs defense keep up? Right? Because Kansas City is going to score 27-35, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, I can see Jacksonville holding them to 27. I can see him holding them 21 or 27 to 31 points, somewhere in there. The big thing will be is, what can Kansas City's defense do?
Mm-hmm.
If you're the Jaguars, your best offense is keep Mahomes on the sideline. Yeah. So I'm not a prop guy. I don't have props listed here, but I would take a gander and see what kind of value you can get with Travis Etienne, because I think the Jaguars have got to establish the run.
Yep. And the Chiefs have proven over the last several years that stopping the run is something they have a lot of trouble with.
It's something they have a lot of trouble with, and Jacksonville can't. I feel like they came out and they tried to get those short throws, and San Diego was setting on the routes early. Jacksonville can't come out throwing the ball like that.
They came out throwing in that game way more than I expected to see Jacksonville. I thought they would come out, establish the run. But, man, they came out in that game earlier and were just trying to fling it all over the place.
Because if you're Jacksonville, you got to stay within striking distance, because you can't get Trevor Lawrence in a situation where they have to pass, and now you got Chris Jones, who's arguably the best in the game, and then Snead, who I love. He's my boy. He's always opportunistic. He always comes up. It's like Palomalu back in the day. He always ends up around the ball.
Yeah. Nick Bolton's filthy, too.
So the Jags got to keep the ball on the ground. Now, I also think the Jags, I gave them grief the other day, but Kirk and Zay Jones, I think they can work the Chiefs on these little slants and underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Jags can sustain 7-8 minute drives. Here's the thing: when they do that, if there's a 4th and 2 from the Chief 22, they can't fall into the trap of, well, we're playing Mahomes. You got to score touchdowns, not field goals.
Yep.
You have got to take unless you're inside the 5.
Yep.
You've got to take the points. Because here's the thing: if you stay within straight, the Jags defense is really good, and they're going to pick Mahomes off once in this game. If they stay within striking distance, Mahomes has proved, even through his greatness, because he's the best quarterback in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll throw you a couple balls. Now it's up to you if you make the play or not.
Yep.
So the closer the Jags keep this, Mahomes will give them a chance, right? Because Mahomes is just like Favre and Elway. He's going to light you up and he puts fear into your soul, but he's going to throw you a couple too. It's just a matter if you make the play. So the Jags got to stay, and I think that's where Doug Peterson is perfect for this. I think he's going to say the same stuff I'm saying is, look, Kansas City might come out and get up on us 14-0 quick. We got to stick to the script.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't, I really do think I could see the Chiefs winning 45-10 if they get outside of themselves. If Jacksonville can establish the run and stay true to themselves, this game will be decided in the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
which I think is how it plays out. I think the Chiefs get a win, but I do think it comes down to the 4th quarter.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I will also say this, and it's weird because I feel that way too, but this is the one game on the card. This is the only game of the whole weekend that I can see a blowout.
Yeah.
This is the only game on the card I can see a blowout.
I mean, I think the Chiefs have the offensive firepower and the weapons to do it. But they have a tendency to also take their foot off the gas and allow teams to hang around. That's an Andy Reid. He's been guilty of that for a long time. They're also guilty of not running the football when they actually run the football very well. So it just depends on if they let their foot off the gas. You know, if they jump out to a quick lead early and they let Jacksonville hang around like they like to do, let teams hang in the game.
And Bucker, who was lights out, he's had issues as of late for whatever reason.
I don't know I don't know if he's 100% healthy. I think he had the injury earlier in the year. I think he's come back. I don't know if he's 100%.
Do y'all still got the young kid on the roster, the other kicker? Because I would keep him right now.
We do. Yeah.
All right.
They do.
You know, need to tell him, keep the leg warmers on, kiddo, just in case.
Just in case. But yeah, I mean, if I can't say that I couldn't see the Chiefs rolling away with this one because they do have a lot of offensive weapons. Would I be surprised to see the game go that way a little bit? I know they're capable of it. But out of the games, I would agree with you. Out of all the games this weekend, that's probably the only one I think that has the potential to really get away from somebody.
Yeah.
So I would agree with that.
I agree 100%.
All right, so we'll jump to the next one here. Giants at Eagles. Eagles laying 7.5. My questions in this game are, can you keep Daniel Jones from turning over the ball 2 weeks in a row? Are you going to get 100% healthy Jalen Hurts? Is he 100%? Are you getting 70 or 80% Jalen Hurts? Division opponents, these games tend to be close against division teams. Philly getting minus 7.5. I lean towards the Giants here. If I had to play this or I had to make a decision on it, this is one of those where you look, can you get to 8? Because I think this ends up being a close game, and this is one of those I could really see coming down to a field goal late.
So, what are you saying? Is that all your analysis that you glowingly gave us?
I thought it was all good. Did you not listen to me at all?
Well, I mean,
If Daniel Jones plays how he played last week against the Vikings, this is going to be a tough game for Philly. I don't think they're just going to roll the Giants. I think the Giants have proved they're good. Dable at coach has them playing really well. I think this is a field goal game, 3-4 points. I like the line here. I like the Giants plus 8, plus 8.5. If you can get that, if you buy that to that would be my analysis. I think this ends up being a close game. And I'll say, I will not be shocked if the Giants somehow pull this one off.
Well,
because I don't know how healthy Jalen Hurts is. And that's the big question mark.
The Giants are a very trendy dog.
Mm-hmm.
Very trendy. 70% of the tickets that have been written on the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Only 30% on the Eagles. So this is one of the dogs, right? We talk about the public. Dogs were 4-2 last week. The public's going to say, okay, we can't bet all the favorites. Got to pick a couple dogs, and this is going to be their sexy one, right?
Yeah.
So,
which I understand the thought process.
Yeah, and 65% of the handle on the Giants, only 35% of the money on the Eagles. But it's funny, the Giants are getting all the money, but this line opens 7 instead of going the other way. It's went to 7.5. So reverse line movement against the money is always a red flag for me. But when you dip in, Daniel Jones, the man that lives on the road, little Eli, on the road, 18-7 ATS.
Jesus.
As an underdog, 27-15 ATS. As a road underdog, Daniel Jones is now 17-5 against the spread. That's just mind-boggling to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Giants this season, they're 10-6-1 straight up. Do you realize they're 13-4 against the spread this year?
Good God, really?
I mean, they've been they're a juggernaut. Now the Giants
and you were giving Daniel Jones so much shit on the last episode.
The Giants are 4-0 against the spread this season in the second meeting against opposing teams. So Cowboys cover, Commanders cover, Eagles cover, Vikings cover. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, that's pretty, yeah. Mm-hmm. But since 2014, the Giants against the Cowboys and the Eagles, they're 1-17 straight up.
Mm.
The Giants, since they lost in 2001 to the Eagles in the playoffs, Giants are 13-33 straight up against the Eagles and 20-26. So Philly's won 9 consecutive home games against the Giants. 9 consecutive home games against the Giants. So
streaks are made to be broken there.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't know.
So, when you look at that stuff, the Eagles are 14-1 this year when Hurts plays straight up. When you dive a little deeper than that here, I think the biggest thing for me is, again, can the Giants, they're 5-0 against the spread, their last 5 overall, 5-0 against the spread on the road. We just said, 10-1 last 11 playoff games on the road, 10-2 ATS their last 12 playoff games overall, 22-7 against the spread on grass. The road team is 7-3 ATS in their last 10, while Philly has dominated them straight up in Philly. The Giants are 5-1 against the spread the last 6 in Philadelphia. So a lot of cases for the Giants there. The thing for me is, can they keep from turning the ball over? And then the other thing is, the Giants have gotten really cocky lately. Daboll's smoking his Cuban cigars with his taco meat hanging all out.
I mean, you got to give him.
They're posting.
You got to give him props. They were coached a hell of a season.
They were posting all that stuff against Minnesota. So I just wonder, when I look at it, they played a horrible defense, arguably the worst defense in the playoffs in the Vikings. Philly's going to be able to get more pressure. And here's the other thing. It's not like the Giants were stopping the Vikings on offense.
Yeah.
Okay, now you add the dynamic of Jalen Hurts being able to run around, if he can run around,
if
like
he's healthy.
But, it's not his legs it was hurt, it was his shoulder.
Yeah.
So that's not going to affect him running around. So I know what everybody's going to do. Everybody's either going to tease the Chiefs and Eagles Saturday, or they're going to money line parlay them. That's going to be the big play the whole weekend. Chiefs, Eagles. Everybody's going to live and die with that in a teaser or a parlay. I just don't know if the Giants, we talk about them being road warriors, but a lot of those trends I threw out was with Eli and Tom Coughlin. I don't know if this Giants team can handle success because they haven't won back-to-back games since week 5, week 6.
That's not good.
Okay. And they could be it could be a 3 or 4 point game, and you be thinking, oh, I'm covering with the Giants, and a late pick 6 kills you.
Yeah.
Right. So, or Philly, kicks a meaningless field goal to make it not meaningless, but to make it a 2-possession game, with under 2 minutes or something. Like, I can see it being close and then Philly just getting that cover late. So it'll be interesting. I would just say proceed with caution. Now, all that money and all that tickets, it's Wednesday night right now. Well, early Thursday morning, 12:51 on the East Coast. So I wanted to see what does that actually play out to be for the Giants.
Yeah. All right. We'll jump to the next one here then. Bengals at Bills. Buffalo laying 5.5 at home.
You going to give me your breakdown or what?
This is that game that I don't have a good feel on. Bills at home, play well at home. Bengals coming in. Obviously, the Bengals played the Ravens last week. Divisional game, played them close. I didn't think the Bengals played anywhere up to their potential last week. But you got to give some credit to that Ravens defense. The Bills defense is not very good. And I can see this game being a shootout. Allen, Burrow. And for me, it's a toss-up. I think in a situation like that where you're going score for score, I think it's a coin flip game.
Yeah, the thing that scares me the most is you got Williams, Collins, and Kappa out. I mean, none of them have practiced so far this week. And so how's that going to look? How's that going to look come game time? Because though the Bills don't have a great defense, they are like second in takeaways. Somehow they give up all these points, but they get takeaways, right? And I get it. Baltimore is Burrow's kryptonite, but we saw this especially against the Rams in the Super Bowl, and this has been the only downfall of Burrow is when he starts getting beat around like a rag doll.
Yep.
Right.
That's the question we've had about the Bengals, that offensive line, and can they protect him?
Yeah, can they protect him? Because if the Bengals can keep Burrow upright, the Bengals got a shot to win this one outright. However, this is a lot like the Giants. Like 68% of the bets are on the Bengals, and the line keeps moving away from them, not towards them. So that really questions me as to, okay, the Bengals are getting 72% of the tickets compared to 28 for the Bills, and the line went from 3.5, 4 to plus 5.5. Like it should have went the other way. That doesn't make sense. So that's where I say, hey, I've picked my picks. But before I give anything out, I want to see how the market moves. Because, again, you're not betting teams, you're betting numbers. And, the Bengals, they've been great this year. They're 12-4 against the spread with Burrow. But, you're in Buffalo.
It's going to be cold.
Is which shouldn't affect Cincinnati. They play in the cold anyway. But you're going to have, Buffalo dodged a bullet. So I wonder, does Buffalo play that bad 2 weeks in a row?
Right.
Now, where we talk about keeping Burrow upright, on the flip side, can Josh Allen not turn the daggone ball over?
That's been a problem for him lately. We've talked about that quite a bit on here.
But the Bengals defense that I've raved about and has looked so good this second half of the season, they didn't give up points, but they didn't look good against Baltimore. Right? And guess what? Josh Allen's going to run around a whole lot more than Huntley did. Okay? So that's a concern if you're betting the dog. If you're betting the favorite, again, it comes down to, can you get to Burrow, right? And knock him down a few times. And then on offense, can, Josh Allen, if he gets loose and starts making plays, I just saw this. The Panthers are going to interview Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator of the Bills. What the hell for? I mean, they've interviewed everybody but us. So go ahead and clear my schedule Friday. I'm going to be in Charlotte interviewing because they've interviewed everybody else.
Yeah, maybe we should get that going.
That would be my concern.
I'll be your offensive coordinator. I'll call plays for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. So the next one here, and this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a defense-heavy game. Both of these teams, great defenses. Cowboys at 49ers. 49ers laying 4 at home. I think the 49ers win this game. But I think it's going to be very, very close. I think 3-4 is probably a good one, and I think it's a fairly low-scoring game because of how good these defenses are.
Yeah, 68% of the money is on the Niners, or 68% of the tickets are on the Niners, 32% Cowboys right now at DraftKings. Niners, 72% of the handle, Dallas 28%. And the line, but this line movement's been right. It was at 4, it's ticked down to 3.5. So it's going the way it should go based off the bets. Over under setting at 46, 75% of the tickets on the over, 71% of the money on the over. Again, everybody loves these overs. Bengals, Bills, 48.5, 80% of the money on the over. Giants, Eagles, 48, 71% or 81% of the money on the over, 71%. So all these overs are getting pounded. I will say this. I don't want to go too in depth, and I haven't given anything away. I'm going to have six plays, and there may even be a 7th between straight teasers and parlays. But this is my favorite game of the week. This is my favorite. It's going to be my favorite game to watch. And it's the bet that I like the most. It's the bet that I would be, again, nothing shocks me in sports, especially in sports gambling. But I would really look at myself and be like, all right, I got that one wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So, I feel really good about this game. Now, this game's going to come down to 2 things in my eyes. The defenses are going to show up.
Yep.
Can Dak not turn the ball over?
That's always a question for Dak.
Can Kellen Moore run the football with Pollard and Elliott instead of getting pass half? Because if you look at the stat line at the end of this game and Dak has thrown the ball 35 plus times, Dallas will have lost by at least a touchdown. And then on the other side of the coin is, how much does Brock Purdy have to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just wonder if it's close late and he has to make a play, because he hasn't had to make a whole lot of plays, right? What does that look like? And, the 49ers, for all intents and purposes, like I said, Seattle had the lead last week at the half. And then that Raider game is really sticking out in my mind. It'll just be interesting if, here's the thing for Dallas, get the game to the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Get the game into the 4th quarter. But it's going to come down to Purdy and Dak. It really is. It's that simple.
Yep.
Well, 3 things. Dak's play, Purdy's play, and can Kellen Moore remember to run the football? Because I know both defenses are going to show up, and I know Kyle Shanahan's going to run the football, and I know Kyle Shanahan is going to try his hardest to keep Purdy in 3rd and short, little 2, 3, 4 yard passes, just moving the chains down, working the clock. So those 3 things is really what this is going to come down to. But I love this game. I love it. I think it's going to be the best game to watch.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. Sundays, again, the sleepover, I'm cool with putting that first. Now, I will be able to, the girls will be eating pizza, doing makeup by the time Giants Eagles come on. But everybody would be gone by 3 o'clock. And Sunday, everybody knows just to leave me alone, because Bengals, Bills, and Cowboys 49ers. I will only be doing 2 things: texting you, tweeting, and watching the game. 3 things. Sorry.
The tweeting thing still scares me, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen you say anything too crazy on there yet.
Yeah, daughter. Everybody leaves, and it's just going to be me in my recliner watching some foosball Sunday.
There you go. All right. Well, with that, you got anything from John's betting corner?
Yeah, we're going to have a
kind
great
of started off with John's betting corner.
Yeah,
We'll see
start
if you
off
got
with
anything else.
John's betting corner. Look, if you reach out to me, both by email, or you can send me a text, and the phone number to send me a text is 615-492-8442. Send me a text. What's a good time to call you in the next 2 days? Let's get on the phone if you're serious about making money. Let's talk. Let's figure out where you're at, and let's get you hooked up for this weekend. All right. So, I know we're going to have a great weekend. I learned from my mistakes last week. 8-7, still a winning record. I say a loose.
Tough breaks though last weekend.
Yeah.
You can't.
So, but this week, I'm on the right side again, especially with how last week played out. I know I can see what's going to happen this week. And I'm excited. I'm totally excited. And hey, we had a 2-0 night again. This is going to come as a shocker. Nobody has texted and said, good job. 2-0.
Hey, maybe they're sleeping.
I only
It
hear
is
when
late.
we lose.
I always
So,
say you good job.
but,
I'll give you credit.
But yeah, we're going to have a great, 66% in the NFL. We're going to have a great week. So 6-7 plays, 6 for sure. 4-2 at worst. Goals to go 5-1. But who knows? Maybe I get lucky and can run the table here.
Yep, that's what we'll shoot for.
In the words of Richard Petty, old NASCAR driver, I'd rather be lucky than good any day. I'm really good, but some luck would help me every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn down any luck for sure.
No.
All right. Well, I think that's a show for us. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know we always enjoy bringing these shows to you. I hope you all have a great weekend. A lot of good football, but there's also college basketball. There's also hockey going on. So a lot, if you're a sports fan, to love this weekend. I think we're in for some really good playoff football. I'm excited for these games. I'm excited to be attending one of them, but I'm going to be watching the other ones. I think it's going to be a great weekend for football. I think there's going to be really, really good games. So I hope you all enjoy your weekend. We'll be back with another episode for you on Monday. But have a great one.
Hey, Twitter, #@BCCS Sports. Holler at me, my winners. Love y'all.